I'm Lynette Jennings and welcome to the show. Today we're coming to you from the Santa Ynez Valley. Some people in California say it's paradise. The house you're about to see is inspired by the French chateaux in the wine region of France. It's set amongst the vineyards here. When your passion is wine, well, the results are to be found other than in the bottle. They're in your lifestyle as well, including your dream home. Let's take a look at the garden. Now this is the beginnings of a garden. It's a fairly young garden, but it's still beautiful. It's elegant, and you can see the potential. The gardeners are working on it today. The house is brand new construction. Looks like it's old, complete with turrets and dormers, exactly what you would find in the south of France. An old, old chateau. There are a few surprises in this house. A wine cellar, a pool that dives under a stone archway. Let's take a look. For a French chateau, you need a grand entrance, and this one certainly is. Look at the canted entrance in the stone archway. Beautiful foyer as well, but look at the leaded glass. If wine is your passion, well, the sign of the grape would be everywhere in your dream home, I'm sure. Look at the foyer. Grand entrance, grand foyer, leading to a V-shaped floor plan, which is really unusual. Now, if you're like me, you're always curious about what's inside the turret, right? Well, it's a staircase in this case. Look up. Beautiful balcony. And there's the sign of the grape. Wonderful vine-like curlicues in bronze all the way wrapped around the spiral staircase. What a great entrance you could make. Think about it. Little alcove, powder room, phone room. There's a new feature if you're planning a new house. Beautiful bronze chandelier. Looks like candles. A French chateau is a romantic architecture in color, in the materials that are chosen, and in the scale. And you're going to appreciate that in just a second as you take a look at this long, grand hall that is the living room. As you enter the hall, you find your way through 8 huge columns. The hall itself is flanked by columns. It sends your eye up, but not yet. Looking down the length of the living room, you see a large, very simple stone fireplace and a mirror up above. What's interesting about this shape is if you looked at it on a floor plan, you would see a very long, skinny living room, which many of you fight. Well, one suggestion would be to precede your furniture arrangement with a minor arrangement, just a little love seat and 2 chairs. Now, true to the French chateau tradition, and the great hall tradition of architecture, well, a great hall isn't just a living room. It's a place for socializing. So anticipate people milling around, standing around, cocktails maybe. Maybe in this case, a wine tasting. Instead of having the furniture up against the fireplace in a traditional conversational cluster where the fireplace is the main event, notice that the furniture arrangement is pulled back away from the fireplace, allowing you space to sort of walk around and appreciate the hearth and enjoy the warmth and to look at the view. See the difference? Here you have the space to do that, but it requires a centered arrangement and a minor arrangement. The colors, the upholstery, rich wine colors. Think of the colors of wine, right? Mellow yellows, almost white, cream, a sauterne, if you will. Merlot, once you get into the reds. You're going to see a lot of those wine, those beautiful rich colors all over the ground floor of the house. Now let's look up, because here's the real surprise. Part of the Great Hall architectural tradition is a balcony, a second area, a viewing area. People would socialize up there in the old castles and chateaus as well, and they would look down on those below. Welcome back to our showcase house. We're in the Santa Ynez Valley California, and we're looking at a French chateau. We're now ready to see the kitchen and breakfast area, which of course is French country. What else could it possibly be, right? Okay, it is centered by this beautiful French blue furniture arrangement in French fabrics. Now, look closely at the chairs. The style is French bergère, and the fabric is the Soleado style from the south of France. Now, if you look closely at it, it is paisley mixed with toile, very much a country look. The centerpiece of this breakfast area, however, is this table, topped with a chandelier, again in the grape motif. Remember what I said earlier about the grape style or the grape figure, or sign of the grape figuring prominently throughout the house. That is a wonderful chandelier. But this table is to die for. It's distressed, it's hand painted, and here's a little trick. If you have a large family sitting around a table, you know what that's like. It's a lazy Susan. Now let's look at the fireplace. Country-style fireplaces often have raised hearths, and that's what you're looking at here. It's raised above about 14 to 18 inches, very handy. The origin of the raised hearth actually is a cooking fireplace. In country houses, they would actually use this as a service area or cook area, and it makes it handy. That's why it's high up. You'll also see tiles in here, more detail, the sign of the grape. Now look at the kitchen. French country is a term that's usually used in America, and we tend to tag anything that has distressing or whitewash staining French country. But this is very much true to the tradition. It looks like a furnished kitchen. If you look at the base, the drawers on the end of the counter, the very wide cooktop surface, and then as you look up, again, a pot rack and chandelier combination, also done in the sign of the grape. The dining room is one of my favorite rooms in this house. It's truly dramatic, but what makes it so romantic are the walls. Faux treatment is only the base. The stenciling around the candelabras and the chandeliers are what make it so extra nice. Heavy brocade drapery, silk swept around the windows. A high vaulted ceiling also done in clay. Hey, for those of you who are worried about painting your ceilings, oh, look what a difference it'll make. And look what you can do around your chandelier. If you have the extra feature of a fireplace, make it bold. This is a tiny little fireplace opening, but the mantel and all the side work give that room an extra drama. And don't forget about the floor. You know, even if you have an area rug, the borders of a room can be made special by inlays. And these days, you can buy them pre-made. Well, just what you've been waiting for, the swimming pool that goes under the stone arch into a bathhouse, and that wine cellar. Okay, if you're going to have a French chateau and grapes are your hobby, you're going to have guests and parties. And what a better place to have a party than a pool that actually flows in through the guest house and the party room. Just like in a spa or resort. Wouldn't that be fun? A bar, barbecue, guest house, lounge, hot tub, all in one stone enclosed space. Another favorite room of mine, because it looks old, was built yesterday, right? But all that rubble stone work makes it look like it's part of the old barn maybe, or stables in the chateau. True to Santa Barbara style, lots of wrought iron. Now let's switch gears and go from that beautiful pool setting down into the dungeon, right? Wrong, it's not a dungeon. This is where the wine is stored. If your hobby is wine, you might be a sommelier, someone who's an expert in wine tasting. And if you're going to have wine tastings the old world way, it's going to be in the cellar where the wine is stored. Typically, this is a very formal event. So it calls for very special decorating, even if it's the lower level, or some of us call it the basement. Surrounded by a wine collection that can be as valuable as fine old paintings, you need to give it some atmosphere. At the end of this corridor style room, a mural that reminds you from which the grapes have come. A brick floor studded with bits of clay tile, the French fleur-de-lis. Later, we're going to show you how these tiles are made. We're actually going to take you on a visit to Italy. The harvesting of the grape has been a subject for art for centuries. Wow, what a beautiful place. The sign of the grape in this house is everywhere. Let's start with the backsplash for the oven and the cooktop. Great use of tile. Look at the patterns here. This is tumbled stone, actually. Has a matte finish. Lots of muted colors available. I love the Harlequin diamond and the border, and then topped with a running bond. That's all those little squares up there, 1-inch squares, all set up like brick. How many more places can you find grapes? How about a specialty molding? Grapes and vines at the top of your kitchen cabinets. Another molding, this time over the fireplace. Just tucked under the fireplace mantle is a row of hand-carved grape and vine motif. And of course, grapes in the ironwork in the chandelier.
You know, it's a beautiful spring day in Santa Ynez, and typical of the spring, the weather's shifting on us, so it's gotten a little breezy. And I'm just sitting here looking at all these vines, just so pregnant. The green is about to sprout. You just know it's going to be a great harvest this year. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Oh, can't tell you how wonderful it is here in Santa Ynez.
like to know more about Lynette Jennings, email us at asklynette@springrib.cnchhost.com.